What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Lex Selectors. Today it is the 4th episode of the transfer show. We have got a lot of transfers to catch up on. We've got a handful of rumours as well. We should cover a lot today. If you guys like what you see, please do give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Let's do hit that subscribe button if you've not done so. It does really help. We're trying to push to 1,000 subscribers as soon as we can. And please share this channel as well to as many people as you can. That will really help the growth of the channel. But without any further ado, let's discuss the latest Championship transfer news. Before I start going into the transfers, I'm going to quickly talk about Derby's situation because I know a couple of people have mentioned it when I was doing my recent live streams. And what I will say in terms of my views on it, I just really hope the administrators work as hard as they can to work with Middlesbrough and Wycombe, because their claims against Derby is ultimately what's delaying the potential move for the bidder to, buy the club and financially stabilise the club. The claims, I'm not even really going to talk about them individually. You can have your own opinion about whether Middlesbrough and Wycombe should have their claims. I think Wycombe's claim for me is a little bit stronger than Middlesbrough's claim, if I've got to be honest. But having said that, the deals and the compensation, the money involved, it's not really making Derby an attractive entity for investors to buy into the club and save. What I really hope is that one investor really has a heart of football and can understand the compensation of the two clubs and can respond to the claims, pay those claims potentially, or at least make Derby a little bit better off, and could just simply finance the club, because we cannot have a club die and just not be in existence anymore by some decisions and some difficulties of getting some owners through into that club. A club of this stature just cannot die. And for the fact that Wayne Rooney recently has been linked with the Everton job, I think it's between him and Frank Lampard at the moment. They're the two front runners at the moment. That would be a really big blow, and Derby, what we're going to start seeing from them, and we'll talk about it in the latest transfer news, their squad's just going to be depleted ever so more. They've already lost 3 key players, which I'll go on to in a minute, and for very little money involved as well. It's really going to make Derby, almost tread over. But one thing what I would say is that as soon as Derby can just get someone in, hopefully for their sake, they can just keep the squad as much as it is. They're placed under a fresh embargo, which means they can't sign players. But what they can do is at least try and keep some more players in and tie them down to contracts. But I sympathise for every Derby fan in this situation, and I pray and hope that their club can be saved, within the limit. Statements have been released from Middlesbrough and the EFL recently. There's a lot of inconsistency involved. I just really hope we get more clarity on the strength of the situation in the next couple of days or so. So now onto the transfers. One player that Derby have already lost is David Marshall. He has left to join Queen's Park Rangers. That one won't be too major for me because he's not really featured in any game for Derby this season. They've got 2 pretty good goalkeepers in Kelly Roos and Ryan Alsop ahead of his place in the pecking order. QPR were in desperate need of a goalkeeper following their second choice was injured and Senny Dieng's at AFCON. So they've got David Marshall, and he got a clean sheet on his debut as well, so could be a good signing for QPR. More players that have left Derby include Phil Jagielka. That's because his contract ran out, and because of the fresh embargo, they cannot extend the contract. So Jagielka left, and Stoke capitalised and got him on a free transfer. And I tell you what, that's going to be a very crucial signing. For Derby, Stearman's going to now have to be in that back line replacing Jagielka. It will be a blow for Derby long term, but I think for Stoke, that experience I think would definitely help, and I can see that Jagielka still has a bit of quality of championship experience, so a really exciting signing for Stoke. Another signing Stoke City have made is Lewis Baker. He has joined Stoke from Chelsea, and he's someone who I have kept a really close eye on. I'm really excited to see how he thrives with Stoke. I think him getting first team football and what he'll do for Stoke, he'll just add another layer onto his game. He was substituted a little bit later on into the game, and for the way that he plays, I think he'll add a good amount of depth in his Stoke City side. I don't think he's going to necessarily be the player that produces something different. He's not really that type of a flair player that's really going to turn teams' fortunes around. But what he is, he's reliable and he's experienced. And I think that will be a really crucial signing for Stoke. Let's go through a couple of loan signings. So one of the first loans is Cody Dramer. I talked about him in my last transfer show that he was going to join Cardiff. He has joined Cardiff and he was featured for Cardiff very, very recently against Blackburn. Looked okay, but I definitely think we need to see a little bit more from him. But for what I saw with Leeds, very momentarily, he only got one start for Leeds this season. He can be a promising player, and he's a young player too, so he's got a lot to develop. So could potentially be an exciting signing. Florin Balogan is the big one. So Middlesbrough have managed to capture him on loan from Arsenal. There's been a lot of reports on his wages, a lot of report on his fee. Honestly, Balogan's just got to produce the fortunes. We've seen it so many times before where we've seen big investors and owners gamble on really expensive assets, and if they don't produce to what their value suggests, it's really going to set the path around a difficult path. So Balogan's got a lot of pressure, but I'm really excited to see him play first team football. I think that will be really, really exciting for all of us. Liam Cullen has left Swansea to join Lincoln City on loan, just wasn't getting enough game time. Morgan Whittaker has also gone to Wigan, so Lincoln have managed to capture two young Swansea strikers, and I think that will be a very interesting signing as well. I think the fact that both of them could potentially work together might be a really good idea for what Lincoln are suggesting. Cyrus Christie has left Fulham to join Swansea on a loan deal. That's also interesting. Another player just wasn't getting enough game time. Christie has been a very polarizing character. There's some people that really admire what he does and some people not quite rating him. I still think he's got some potential within him, and I think him being in that Swansea squad, you know, with the way that they play, I think Christie will thrive with that, so I think that might be a good signing. Another loan, Ono Hernandez has now joined Birmingham on a loan deal. So obviously he was loaned to Middlesbrough from Norwich. He was recalled by Norwich, but now Birmingham have managed to capitalise and they've managed to get Onel Hernandez in. I think he will get more time with Birmingham. I definitely think with the quality of player that he is, he does fit the bill a little bit more. And I'm really excited to see how Birmingham will thrive with that quality of player in their squad. We're not even halfway through talking about all the transfers. So MK Dons left Andrew Fisher go. They have let him go to Swansea. So Swansea have got another goalkeeper to potentially rival Ben Hamer. Could be a really good replacement for letting Steve Bender go to Peterborough. Josh McGuinness has dropped to a league below from Hull to join Wigan. Wigan have made some really, really good signings. Josh McGuinness being one of them. But another signing they made very recently with a brilliant deal is Graham Shinney for only £20,000, which is being recorded. That is absolutely crazy. For someone like Graham Shinney, you would expect his value to be containing at least two more zeros. So the fact that Shinney got them from Derby for 20,000, you could say they've taken advantage of a bad situation. But if you rewind to 2 years ago, Derby technically did the same when Wigan were facing administrations. They managed to get David Marshall and Nathan Byrne of really good money. So I would say it wouldn't be payback. That's not the best way to put it. But I think Wigan have definitely made the most of a bad situation to really improve their situation. A very interesting name of Derasiario Zifuik. You've got to be very careful how you pronounce that surname. He has joined Blackburn from Hertha Berlin as a right back, a very young right back. I wouldn't say I've seen a lot of him, but if he promises to be as good of a potential that he is and play in that Bundesliga, I think he'll be a really, really interesting player that I want to learn a little bit more about. And another signing Blackburn have made recently, which I'm a little bit more interested in, is Dylan Markande from Spurs. Now, he's played in the youth squad for Spurs, right winger. Seen him maybe once or twice, so I can't really comment too much on it, but another young potential player. And I tell you what, in that right hand side with the formation that Blackburn play to have three up front, he can definitely link with that very, very well. So Markande, very good potential player. And what I'm liking with Blackburn, they're not splashing the cash, but they're getting some potential players in. And I think that is definitely going to help them financially long term, and it will make the club more stable. So really clever business I'm seeing going on with Blackburn at the moment, which is just signifying how great they've been this season as well. Chukwuemeka has returned to Charlton. It wasn't a really a good fit, Birmingham, I've got to be honest. He didn't really, for one, get too many starts. He only scored one goal, I believe, in the whole season for Birmingham. For him to be a backup striker, he didn't really supply, so he's returned to Charlton now from that. Ryan McGree's back to the Championship, and he has now joined Middlesbrough. So Charlotte FC recalled Ryan McGree. but Middlesbrough managed to get him, and I think that is really good. It's taking players away from your rivals, and it's strengthening the teams in that midfield area too. And for how good Riley McGree was when he had to deputise a little bit for Taif Chong, who of course has left Birmingham as well, he was really, really important in that midfield area to win those vital interceptions and to play key passes through. And if he can be an inch or a smidge of the player like that for Middlesbrough, they've really got some ridiculous talent on their hands. We'll talk about players that have now left due to the contract. I've briefly talked about Phil Jagielka already, but Andy Carroll has left Reading. And of course, another one as well, Raphael, has left Reading as well due to him being released and his contract ending. Raphael had huge wages but just wasn't getting enough minutes. But one back to Derby, Sam Bulldog has also left Derby due to his contract being running out, and Derby, from that fresh embargo, they cannot extend or re-sign him. So big blow for Derby, and they're really going to be the underdogs. But with the position that they're in, if they can get everything done off the pitch, maybe they might have a slight chance of managing to defy the odds and actually do impressively well on the pitch. Robin Olsen has left Sheffield United. He previously joined Roma, but now Aston Villa look like that they have signed him yesterday. I think that's interesting. I don't think he's going to start every game. I think he will be back at goalkeeper to Emi Martinez, but what a good couple of goalkeepers that Aston Villa have got in their ranks now. Tyus John Jules has left Blackpool to rejoin Arsenal. Now, I think Arsenal at the moment, they're having some difficulties filling their squad with the injuries, AFCON and COVID, like a lot of these Premier League clubs are struggling as well, which maybe that's why they recalled him, you know, with that precaution and just lacking those squad players. He had done all right, actually, for Blackpool. He did a lot better than what I thought he would, so I'm a bit upset I didn't see any more of him in the Championship, unfortunately. Jake Bidwell has signed for Coventry. Now, that is a big signing. I definitely spoke about the rumours of Jake Bidwell being linked to Coventry, but I thought those rumours were a little bit out there, but it turns out they were not fake at all. They were completely valid, and Coventry got the deal over the line. And I gotta say, good business for Coventry as well. They had a lot of injuries, especially in their defenders' positions, and I think the way that Jake Bidwell plays as well in that wing-back position but can transition to a full-back, he can push forward very, very well. You saw how good he was, and Connor Roberts working together last year, really supplying the attacks for Swansea. If he can do a smidge of that for Coventry, I think it's definitely going to help Coventry's season. A couple more transfers that happened within a couple of hours ago. Matt Smith has joined Salford from Millwall. Now, Forest fans were a little bit happy with that because Matt Smith loves scoring against Nottingham Forest. He's now joined Salford. I think that that's a real coup for Salford to get this player in. Salford have had a very up and down season. They're going to have an unbelievable run of form if they want to have any chance to salvage this season. Wonder if Matt Swift could be the one player that they need. Danny Battas left Stoke. A lot of people were expecting this. He has joined Sunderland, which was interesting because he was linked with Sheffield Wednesday and the links were quite strong there. But Sunderland managed to swoop in and get this deal over the line. So fair play to Sunderland. I think they've got a good experienced player on their hands. And the most recent one, for what I know, is Tyler Walker. He has joined Portsmouth on loan from Coventry. What do I think about that? I think it's right because Tyler Walker's just not been playing enough since Martin Waghorn has come in. He's kind of shifted the priority, and obviously Tyler Walker has suffered as a result of that as well. He's been a player who I think has really struggled, you know, to really get his form going and has had someone with real trouble with injuries. But I think with a League One team like Portsmouth, where Portsmouth do play really good football, I think that would be a really good signing again. Right, so that is all the confirmed transfers so far. For the love of God, please don't announce any more. I'm struggling to keep up as it is. We've only spent 15 minutes of recording anyway, just talking about the confirmed transfers. Now let's go on to the couple of rumours that I've found. So the biggest rumour I've seen today is Chris Basham and Burnley have been linked with the Sheffield United defender. Basham has been with Sheffield United since 2014, making over 200 appearances for the Blades. Now, Burnley would be, I think, an attractive proposition for Basham, especially for how topsy-turvy Sheffield United season has been in their return to the Championship. Burnley need all the players that they got right now. Their squad is very, very depleted, and now I can see Burnley acting to try and improve their squad numbers whilst they've got a lot of players out due to COVID. And I think Basham would be a sensible choice. Tarkowski hasn't been too good this season. Collins has been okay, but he's not been up there. Burnley are currently rock bottom of the Premier League, and they really need some players, and I think Basham will be a good signing for that. What I like about all these transfer shows, we get to talk about some players that we don't really know too much about, and this is one example of that. we're talking about Alexander Pesic. Now, you may be thinking, who? But he's 29 years old, so he's been around for quite a while. He's a striker currently playing in Turkey for Fatih Kagmuruk. I don't know if I've said that name at all. I don't think I've even pronounced it anywhere close to how it's supposed to be said. But he scored 12 goals in 21 games. So that is a really good goal per game ratio, actually. But you might remember him playing for Red Star Belgrade. He actually had a really good goal scoring record there as well. Now, Hull City have been linked with this guy. Now, if Hull can get this deal over the line, I think it'll be a big risk. He's never played in English football, but with the potential, if they can make it work and they can utilise the way he plays and he can score the amount of goals he scored with the short amount of games, he could be an absolute masterstroke for Hull. So Hull got to be very careful when they're considering these transfers. Now, we're going to talk about two signings, and it's very much Celtic against Swansea. There's a real rivalry going round because both have been wanting the similar players. Now, Celtic have managed to edge in front of Swansea with Matt O'Reilly. We have talked about Matt O'Reilly from MK Dons very, very recently. May have been the last show, actually. So at the moment, I think Celtic, for what I've heard, they've triggered Matt O'Reilly's release clause. So it's looking like that Celtic are in the running for getting Matt O'Reilly. But as a result of this, Swansea have now edged ahead of Celtic to get Hannes Wolf from Borussia Mönchengladbach. I have heard this name. You may recognise this name. He has played for Austria, especially in the youth tournaments. I tell you what, if we see him in the Championship, I'm excited. I'll be very excited to see how he plays for Swansea. With the way that Swansea like to play as well, it would be an absolute dream for Hannes Wolf to play in that sort of system. So I can really see Swansea really benefiting that if they can get this deal over the line. Bolton have been linked with John Daddy Budvarsson. Now, there's been a couple of clubs linked with John Daddy Budvarsson in a lot of transfer windows. Now, I can understand from League One's perspective why Bolton think they can get him in. He's just not played enough for Millwall. He's just not been featured enough. You know, he's been very much a bench player for Millwall and has not really been too much of an impact that he has been in previous seasons. So I can understand why Bolton might think they can get him, and I actually think if he does join League One, he can be a really important player for Bolton's season as they try and make sure that they ensure League One survival. Interesting rumour we see is Southampton eyeing Fabio Carvalho. Now, he's been scoring a lot of goals, Carvalho, very, very recently, as Fulham are literally carving teams open, and Carvalho is one of the players that scored the most goals for Fulham in these two games. Now, Southampton, what I always like about them, they've got a really good, healthy young squad. They've played with a really good identity, and I think Carvalho would be really, really good in that midfield area, transitioning and to find the likes of Che Adams and Adam Armstrong up front. I can really see that combination working like a treat. A lot of clubs are going to want Fabio Carvalho. I think at the moment, as it stands, if his contract's not extended, he will leave for free. So that's pretty much why the rumours are going over the top. Fulham need to try and tie him down to a contract. The last three rumours we talked about last week, so I won't go into too much detail, and they involve Nottingham Forest. So Jed Wallace and Josh Bowler have both been linked with Nottingham Forest. Now, Jed Wallace, his contract is nearly out, so Millwall are risking losing him for free. Millwall definitely need to try at least tie him down or let him go as soon as they can, just so that they can get some good amount of cash with the values that he's provided for Millwall over the years. Josh Bowler being another one of great potential, and I actually think in those wide areas, I think that will work a treat with Nottingham Forest. And Jed Spence is the last rumour. So obviously a Forest player on loan at Forest from Middlesbrough this season. Now, Leeds, Arsenal and Spurs are the teams interested. Now, I don't necessarily see them getting Jed Spence now. They're going to have to pay quite a fair bit, especially that they've got to pay not only Forest, but most importantly Middlesbrough. It's technically Middlesbrough's player still. Leeds, I think, would be absolutely privileged to get Jed Spence in. I think he'll definitely be a fantastic player in the way that Leeds play as well. Marcelo Bielsa was absolutely loved working with him. But either way, I think if Jed Spence stays with Forest, I think he'll definitely help them. And I think Forest will not be keen to let him go. Right, so I think that is all of the transfer news that I could find. If I've missed anyone out in terms of rumours or confirmed transfers, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll include those players in the next transfer show. But that wraps up today. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. It does really help the channel. And please share this channel to as many people as you can. All of that really helps. But that wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, everyone.